Hey polish fans, welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer, and today we're doing another polish along with me as well as a Q&A, sort of introducing myself officially after a couple of months of posting videos, and also answering some questions that I've seen in the comments to sort of answer them for everybody and put them into one place. So the color that I'm going to be polishing my nails with today is this beautiful sort of dusty but bright blue, and it's called Isabela. And then depending on if I have time and if I want to put a topper on, I was going to possibly use this Lin B Designs. This one is called Follies, and it's actually this kind of sheer jelly gray taupish base. And as you can see, it's loaded with these beautiful flakies that are somewhat translucent and a little bit on the silver side. So it just adds a beautiful sort of shimmering popper to your polish, as well as this gray taupish base is going to sort of dull down or smoke out the color underneath. So we'll see how I feel about that as we go. Question number one as we get going is, who am I, or who is Wild Moon Lacquer? And that is me. My name is Caroline, and I have been a polish fan for quite some time. My initial idea with Wild Moon Lacquer was to actually make my own nail polish brand, and that is something that I still would like to do in the future. It just wound up being a bigger undertaking than I thought. I have done projects at home like making jewelry before, and selling them was never like this massive undertaking. It was just a matter of, you buy your supplies, you put up an Etsy shop, or you go to a fair and you sell your wares. And with nail polish being in the cosmetics industry, there seems to be a lot more things to undertake, like insurance and following industry guidelines. So it is a lot more than I initially thought. I do have the supplies, so that's a potential thing that might happen in the future, but we'll see. I have fun when I do it. I really like mixing up the different components to make a polish, so we'll have to see how things go in the future. Question number two is, what nail polish app do I use? And that is Nail Polish Rack. I have tried a couple of ways of keeping track of my polish over the years, and that's the one that I have found that I like the look of the most. What I like about Nail Polish Rack is its ease of use, and its interface is essentially what I really like about it. And the homepage is very clean. It doesn't have a bunch of other distracting things going on. It's just your homepage. So it's got your own collection on there. As a little button, it has the polish database, which is all of the other polishes in the app currently, and other buttons like search for a polish or add a polish, things like that. So I like how it is formatted. I like how it looks, and I know they did recently, within the last couple of months, change from being a one-time buy app to being a subscription base. And while I had a very hard time swallowing that, in any case, what I ultimately decided was that after getting frustrated with trying to find another app that I could use, to me it was worth it to just have an app that I was familiar with and I was already comfortable with it, so it was well worth the assistance of having something that was very easy to use to keep track of my polishes. So that was the long answer for what nail polish app do I use. Question number three, how do I organize my nail polish? I initially didn't organize them at all. I didn't really have that many. I just sort of had them in my nail polish area, someplace on my vanity, someplace in the bathroom. There wasn't any particular way I organized them for the first however many years of my life. And then once my collection got to a certain point, I needed to have a better way of actually organizing my collection. And the first time that I did that was after moving to Washington. I initially sorted them by color and then sort of by brand. And I know I also kept out some brands like my Femme Fatales, my Tonics, my Illyrians. Those all sort of got a separate place in my collection, like on top of a dresser or in one of my little nail polish racks. Recently, my collection has gotten a bit wonky because when we did a move after that, my collection outgrew the space that I had for it, and currently it's in sort of a two-shelf bookshelf that I have a little door set on, and it can only hold so many. And the other nail polishes that I've gotten over the last 2 years just wound up in like dresser drawers, on top of the dresser, in shoe boxes. So it was definitely not organized. So that is why I am now in the process of doing a major overhaul and organizing my nail polish. You'll see videos coming up here shortly about color comparisons and swatches and all of that. So currently they are sitting in color. I'll post a little video here of how I have them currently, and I'll be going through them color by color. And then after that, I think my plan is to organize them by brand. For doing YouTube videos, it's more helpful for me to find them by brand, and then I can organize them by color in those brands. And question number 4 is, where do I sell the polishes that I destash? I have a store envy page, Wild Moon Lacquer Destash. I will post that link in the description box down below. And I currently have around 100 polishes, and after I get finished with this destash project, I will definitely have more. And question number 5 is, do I have an Instagram? And the answer is yes, it is Wild Moon Lacquer. And there are underscores in between each word. I guess Instagram doesn't really allow you to have spaces in your name. So it is wild underscore moon underscore lacquer. And I have had my Instagram for a while. However, I didn't really post anything up until I also started posting here on YouTube. And people were asking if I had Instagram. I'm like, well, yes, I do. Why haven't I been using it? So it doesn't have all that much on it, but I have been posting my manicures and video like preview pics and things like that. So once again, that is Wild Moon Lacquer with underscores in between for my Instagram. And question number 6, who are the fur babies that you might see in the polish videos? I have 3 cats, Sterling, Ethan, and Olivia. They are all rescues. Sterling was a feral kitten that we found in our garage right before we moved here to Washington. He also had a sister. She was very, very bonded to Sterling, so we kept them both. And unfortunately, we lost Bella shortly after we moved into our second house. The vet thinks that it was FIPS, but they aren't really sure. It's a very odd disease. They don't seem to have an actual positive test that they can do for it, because when they test negative, it can be positive, and when they test positive, it can be negative. They don't know how they get it or why they get it. Long story short, we lost Bella, but we do still have Sterling, and he is the big gray silver cat that you'll see if he makes an appearance. He tends to be very shy. Our oldest cat of the bunch is Ethan. We adopted him while we were living in Reno. We got him at the SPCA, and he is such a love bug. He's a big daddy's boy. He picked us. We were in the kitten room at the SPCA looking around, and I was trying to pull out this little Abyssinian kitten from underneath one of the little cat trees that they had, and Ethan was this little scrawny cat with his fur that he hadn't quite grown into. He was sitting funny on the floor. We figured out later that it was because he'd been fixed and his stitches probably hurt. And he took one look at us, watched me crawling on the floor, and he crawled up onto the kitten trees, scratching cat trees, and crawled onto my husband's shoulder, and then proceeded to crawl on top of his head and sat on his beanie and basically said, "Yep, these are my owners, take me home." So we sort of had to, and we've definitely been very happy with him. He is such a sweetheart. He talks to us, he cuddles. He's too big to cuddle, but he tries it anyways. He likes to try to sit on your lap. So that is Ethan. And then little Olivia is probably the only one that you've seen so far. She is our tiniest little girl, and she's only about, I forget if it's 4 or 6 pounds, but we found her right after we moved here to Washington. We found her outside a restaurant as a little tiny kitten, screaming her little head off by a dumpster, and she was covered in fleas and she had ticks, and when we took her to the vet, it turned out she also had a tummy parasite. Hey, she had little burnt paws. She was just all sorts of things. But she was a little love bug, like right off the bat. And that was about 4 years ago, and she's still very, very tiny. She's a cuddle bug. She's a mama's girl. She likes to come and sit on my lap. I used to work from home, and again, am, well, not really working from home, but I am at home. And she loves that because she'll sit on my lap, she'll demand attention, she'll sort of paw at my face to make sure that she gets attention. And yeah, I can't imagine not having her. She's such a love. So those are the fur babies, but there's the manicure. I actually think I'm pretty happy with how it looks by itself. It is this really bright blue. I think on camera it's actually deepening the color. It is really, I don't know, maybe a bright cerulean. Really pretty color. I think I'm just going to keep it like that. I don't really think I want to dull it out. For the time being, I think I'm just going to leave it as is. And that ends the Q&A that I've got as well. Hopefully that sort of answered some questions that you might have. If you have any more, leave them down below. And make sure to like and subscribe for more nail polish videos. Oh, and a big thank you. We recently surpassed 200 subscribers, so a huge shout out to each and every one of you and a big, big thank you. So hopefully you enjoyed this little polish along Q&A. And thanks again for watching. We'll see you in that next video.